In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to shop luxury, premium, investment fashion, whatever you want to call it, when you're on a budget. Hope you're all well, guys, and hope you have been enjoying the videos I've been trying to put out for you regularly recently. Yeah, as I said, it doesn't have to be luxury, because luxury is, you know, we could kind of class like brands like Gucci, Dior, Prada, which can be Chanel, which can be super expensive. Even just be premium or higher quality fashion. I know I'd say on my Instagram, make sure to follow my Instagram, by the way, where I do post regularly, that I focus on investment fashion, and particularly for curvy women like myself. So why would you want to start to invest a bit more money in fashion? Around a few years ago now, I found myself drawn to more premium pieces that of course you have to invest a little bit more money into. I create content on social media. I like to also follow people that inspire me on there, and I found the people that I was drawn to follow in as I got a bit older and matured where they were actually more premium pieces. So definitely within the last few years there's been a change in the way I like to shop. I know I did a video on my spring wishes, explained a bit about that. I had a conversation as well with someone about that. I love when you guys comment on the videos. I'm really grateful for that. I loved having a conversation with people about fashion. And the reason why you might want to do that is because you're going to get pieces that you're obsessed with. And that's just so much more fun, and it excites you to get dressed. I believe in trying to spark joy in like any aspect of your life. It's even like when you get dressed. Makes you feel better about yourself, at least it does with me. Pieces that you won't get bored of, pieces that are made of more premium quality materials which should last you longer, so actually in the long run you're actually saving money there. And you kind of think, well, I don't care about, you know, sparking joy when I get dressed, I don't care about fashion. I call it investment because even though you're investing more money up front, the pieces, as I said before, should last you longer, but also more premium luxury pieces tend to hold their value longer. No, I'm not saying I shop just to sell on, but at the end of the day, I do believe in, if I'm no longer wearing a piece after a while, selling that piece on, letting someone else go love that piece, getting some money back. And more luxury pieces or premium pieces tend to hold their value longer or will sell on for more. As compared to, for example, if you shopped in like Primark, you probably are not going to get anything back for that. Or if not, it will be pennies or pounds if you're lucky. You may even be lucky if you do the right research, get the right pieces, and get what you paid for the item back, or get a very high percentage of it back if you buy a more premium piece, which makes it more worth your while when you go in to list these items on resale sites such as, you know, Vinted, Depop, for example, because it does take a while to actually take pictures and list these items. And that's therefore going to get you more money back to then go in and invest in other pieces that you love. So now we're going to talk about how to actually shop luxury on a budget, because some people may think that everyone that does buy luxury pieces are rich. That's just not the case. I definitely know I'm not. First thing you're going to do is going to have a budget. Know how much money you want to allocate to. I'm not going to talk about how much, you know, that's not what I cover about how much you should be spending. That's someone else's channel or niche. But know how much money you actually want to allocate on fashion every month. If you're a fashion lover like me, or, you know, every few months. I spoke about how I'm going to be trying to be different moving forward and just actually invest in a few pieces a couple times a year rather than shopping continuously, but you may prefer to shop continuously. But yeah, and enough to have a clear wish list of the pieces that you would like to get and that you love and obsessed with. So I did my spring wish list. Go ahead and watch that video after you've watched this video. So when you're out shopping, you're not just losing your head and thinking, oh my gosh. Know what pieces you really want. Write it down and have it on your notes on your phone. Rather than, of course, there can be some spontaneity, if I said that word right, when shopping and fun, but like, don't get something and then after like a week or two think, oh, I didn't actually really love this and I wish I had spent the money, saved the money towards like I've loved for so long. How, or the tips I actually have for shopping luxury on a budget. The thing you will do initially is you're going to change your actual mindset. Not something serious for shopping, I've touched upon this a little bit. The mindset I've changed for, which is you're going to value quality over quantity. So you're really going to be decreasing budget. If you're still rich and your budget endless, then love that for you, lucky you. I know for myself, I've decreased a lot the amount of fast fashion items that I buy. And even for the likes of, now don't get me wrong, I love Zara. And sometimes Zara, they're amazing at doing inspired pieces of luxury. The price of luxury things can be unattainable to someone like me. But I used to be a Zara addict. I'll go as far as saying that. I still love Zara, but I've really cut down on the amount of things I buy from places like Zara and brands, you know, the other brands like that, you know, Mango, H&M, which I love, but I still obviously pick up pieces, but I make sure I really love them and buy a few. I don't know, maybe I should look at how many Zara pieces I've actually bought so far this year, but it's not that very many. And it's hard because you have the content creators made and they're showing you all these other pieces. Sometimes I have to like kind of tap out of that a little bit to not get too influenced by that. So that's the first thing to do. Really cut down on the amount of fast fashion pieces you buy, because you're surprised how much money you can save there. And you could have that money all saved up to buy premium pieces. Though they might be beautiful, probably not the best, necessarily always the best quality with fabric. Some pieces are, don't get me wrong. It's not just about all the materials, it's also about, I'm not a sustainable blogger, but you know, some of them haven't been made that ethically as well. I'm not gonna say you're just gonna shop in sales, because you have to be really careful with sales. Sometimes if stuff's in sale, it's like, it hasn't sold, so you have to look into why that is. Don't buy something just because it's in sale. Only buy it if you really loved it. And I'm really someone that should have one of these stored. I think my friend told me about this. You can definitely get apps that you have your wish list and then you want to track. You don't want to buy it straight away at full price unless you're really obsessed with it, but you want to track when reductions are made of the items you love, and you ideally want to try and get it at the lowest price point, but then you don't want to miss it in your site. Often if you wait a bit, you could get it at a lower price point. I don't know about you, but I hate when I've seen something I bought full price get reduced. Of course it happens all the time, because it happens all the time in retail. And I don't mind if I've worn that piece many times. I'm like, oh, I've got my use out of it. But if I kind of only worn it once or twice, I'm like, oh, damn. I need to just do a bit of research. I can't remember what the name of these, like an app is of this. You just, because you can't obviously track in the internet constant unless you are someone that does that, you just want to have like maybe an app that tells you when your items are reduced, so you can just go grab that at a reduced price. Back at it, if you really think, okay, no, I really want this item now, I think it might sell out, I'm going to pay full price for it. My little motto for me is I never pay full price for anything. I think my friend actually said to me once, do you ever pay full price for anything? When I told her about some things I've bought and things like that, and I was like, no. So always even look for a discount code. A lot of websites will have like, now this isn't gonna be like something like Gucci, Prada, if that's you shopping that luxury and premium. But if you like, so I'm talking also brands that are classed as premium like COS and things like that, always look for a discount code. Usually a lot of sites have 10% off code. You won't often get discounts on the actual brand itself, for example like Bottega Veneta, but then if you're going to buy from what someone call like a multi-brand website, you know, My Teresa, Net-a-Porter, Farfetch, I think where they do actually sell luxury brands. My Teresa, I don't think they always do 10% off blankets, some items, but the likes of Net-a-Porter and Farfetch, you can get 10% off, which really, if you're buying a really expensive item, really does help. You can even, if you can't see it on the website, just search for it on Google so it comes up for things like if you work for the NHS, if you're a hospital worker. I'm actually a hospital worker. You see if there's NHS discount on that. If you're a student, then you look for student discount as well. If you have a friend that's a student, or if you have, you know, works in NHS days, I said that, but you know, always, if you look back to full price, pay full price, always at least look for a discount code. Never pay full price. Another tip, search on Google for the item you want and make sure you, for example, I just literally purchased a totem shirt that was on my wish list. It was unfortunately like not on sale. It was an investment piece for me. And make sure to go onto Google. Loads of websites will be selling the shirt. Totem itself, Net-a-Porter, Farfetch, it's like a popular shirt, My Teresa. Not every website will sell the shirt for the same price. So I will make sure I get it from the cheapest. And then the one that will also allow me to use a discount code. So I got it from Farfetch because Farfetch is a good one actually, because it's a marketplace. Sometimes the prices can differ. Sometimes they can be really high, which is bad. Sometimes they can be low. So not only was it the cheapest out there on Farfetch compared to the other websites, I also was able to use a 10% off code. Make sure to not just buy an item random from a website. Do a Google quick search and get it from the site which sells it for the cheapest. Little things as well that will help you save only a few pounds, but still like the site that gives you free shipping. So I received free shipping on Farfetch because some brands want you to pay for shipping as well. I'm like, if I bought a luxury item and spent however much, I expect the shipping to be included. Now sales, but on an elevated level, I'm talking about sample sales, which I've only discovered in the last couple of years. For some reason, maybe through the power of social media, people like TikToks and that. I'm obviously from the UK, but I know America has really great sample sales. I've seen the people talk about the Row sample sale. I've seen people even fly in for the Row sample sale, Prada sample sales. I really wish I had that in the UK, but probably not good for my bank balance. I'm not sure what the name of the organisation does them, because I'm not from the Americas. But from the UK now, and people will gatekeep these. And I now realise that a lot of even like some models or people working in fashion probably shopping in these for years, and that's how they got all their stuff. Again, I was talking about how people actually aren't even paying full price for luxury. Some of the ones that I know about are Arletti. You can go do your research about these. Showcase, and I also want to talk about one which I know a lot of fashion lovers love, and I discovered quite late the Matches sample style. Of course, Matches shut down last year sadly, and I've done videos on it, and I got quite a few pieces which are my dream wishes at really great prices, and I did a video on this, and that was run at The Box in London. So those are the ones I know about in the UK, and sometimes brands themselves will share they're doing sample sales. I know, for example, the brand Kai Collective, which is a black owned brand, does sample sales. Even like sometimes you can get them online, which is so easier than having to travel, because the thing is, I'm not even from London. If you're in London, you're in prime spot. That's obviously the capital of fashion here in the UK and one of them in the world. But if you're in London, there'll be sample sales all the time. But online sample sales are great because obviously I can just log into it from the comfort of my home, but obviously you can't try on. And the thing about sample sale is that usually you can't return or exchange. You can actually get some really massive discounts on luxury brands. Another way then that you can get luxury pieces for a great price. Actually, this is for you if you are really like a sustainable guy into sustainable fashion, which I tried to get more into recently. The last few years is to obviously buy Preloved, which always has a huge market for now. You have sites like Vestiaire, you obviously have Vintage, eBay obviously is one of the OGs, but you can tell how the way direction of fashion is going. That Vestiaire is always been, to my knowledge, like that's just purely for luxury fashion. And literally within the last year or so, eBay and Vinted have introduced authentication, things like that, so they're obviously trying to entice people to sell luxury items or people to buy luxury items from them, because that's the thing about Vestiaire, the items can be authenticated by their expert team. So buying Preloved secondhand obviously is where you can get great discounts. But in the past, some people might have turned nose up a bit. You can get pieces where people have barely touched, because some people literally have a lot of money and they collect luxury items and they decide to, oh, I'm going to sell it, oh, I'm not using it. So I think secondhand is like tatty, and or you can get things that barely been touched and you can get them for a great price. And I buy Preloved quite a lot because obviously I don't like to pay full price things, as I said. A recent purchase I got for my birthday just last month, a Bottega large hot bag. I need to do a review and share with you guys, and that was a dream bag on my wish list. I got that Preloved for a great price. And yeah, it's a really popular bag in luxury space, but I still managed to get it for a great price in the colour I wanted, in great condition. Some people will worry about how do you know if it's real. As I said, these sites have got expert people that can authenticate the bag, but still sometimes you can get a few fakes that can manage to be so good, replicas, and fall through the gaps. So I then do my own checks, and there's online check. You can get online authentication certificates, which are people who have recommended me. And also with the Bottega bag, I was able to actually take it into Bottega and get them to check the bag is real, and that is obviously going to be the best way to check. I'll quickly say you can't expect a brand to do that because obviously you haven't actually spent with them. You know, some brands might not like the whole buying Preloved, they want the money to go to them. Bottega was kind enough to do that for me. And another tip I want to give you as well, which goes well with the buying Preloved and just in general, is to shop out of season. And what I mean to get a great price, what I mean by that is, for example, we are coming in, we're in spring summer. I have especially with fashion as well, on the runway shows, they go a season ahead. You know, the recent shows were showing the fall winter 2025, even though we are in spring summer, and then later on in the year when it gets to autumn, you call it fall in the US, they'll be showing the spring summer 2026. So that's how fashion runs anyway, luxury fashion shows. Shopping at the season is that you're in spring now, so you're actually looking and thinking, what do I want to wear, what do I want to wear in autumn winter. Again, you do your research online. You could watch shows if you want to know, if you want to know what's in trend, if you're that type of trend-led person. And then you're trying to get those things now. If you want to buy Preloved, because you can actually offer people a really low price because they just want to shift it and get some extra money. You're not going to be able to wear that, a big puffer coat now, for example. So you're offering a low price because you're going to have to keep that stored away. Basically, other people won't be shopping for this items, they'll want the spring summer stuff. So people won't have many buyers, so they're forced to take your low offer, in all honesty. And then later on, when it gets to autumn, you start getting your spring summer stuff for next year. Same principle. Not many people want that stuff, so you can get items for a low price because people are just like, I need some cash, I just want to shift it out the way. Yeah, buying a season ahead is something I really want to start putting into practice myself. And I've mentioned this before, but again, if you are resigned to paying full price for an item, you want to treat yourself to a luxury item. If you're in the UK, I now try and hold off from buying these items when I'm here, and will buy them when I'm in Europe. Of course, the UK is technically in Europe, but you know, Brexit and things like that. So I've shared recently, if I want to buy something from Hermes or Chanel, for example, I'll try and buy it when I'm in Paris or even Spain, Paris for example, because those are French brands. We know that brands from a country is cheaper in that country. Obviously, so if I wanted to buy something from Burberry, for example, I'm buying it here in the UK because the Burberry's a UK brand, so it's going to be cheapest here. I would not go to America and start buying Burberry. I go say, if you're watching this from the US, if you're coming to Europe, people try and do shopping here because it's a lot cheaper than buying in the US. To buy something from, you know, from the Row, I would be buying that in the US if I was lucky enough to go into the US on a holiday, because the Row is a US brand. It's cheaper there. These things are expensive enough as they are, so you really can be saving hundreds of pounds. You can easily do your research on that if you're planning on a trip to save up. Go on a brand's website is, just change your locations if you're in that country. You can see how much you save so you can plan. Obviously, don't specifically book a holiday to save them because you're going to spend money on a holiday. Unless you're going to do literally, I know some people will literally go to Paris to shop. We're going to do a lot of shopping and maybe it's worth it for you. To be fair, like Paris doesn't cost that much to get from where I live in the UK, so you know that might be worth it. Even like a massive shopping the likes of Zara, we will save money shopping in from Zara in Spain and in France, for example. I've said all these tips about how to shop luxury cheap, but how can I actually get some cash, some money to buy items? Well, I just encourage you to do an audit of your wardrobe regularly, which I used to do myself, and I don't know, every season or every half year, every quarterly. As much as I'm, you know, we're trying to, I don't want to use the word capsule wardrobe, but build a wardrobe of things that you love and you want to keep forever. It's still fine to take some pieces out and say, I don't wear this, I've worn this a long time, I feel like someone else could love this more than me. Sell that piece on, you know, Vinted, Vestiaire, Depop, and then that is the way that I also get money to invest back into other items. So this has been a big thing now the last few years. Renting clothes, which I feel like when I was like young, like a child, like would have seemed kind of crazy. I think celebrities have always like been lent clothes from brands, they don't always get to keep them, but like renting clothes on likes of Outside by Rotation, Her, they're the big ones in the UK. That is how you can actually make money. So you can actually share your wardrobe pieces with people, especially if you have like a lot of dresses, for example, and dresses are really popular to rent out for parties. And this is actually another reason why I've come to realize it's good to actually buy premium rather than high street by fast fashion. You can't rent out on these sites fast fashion pieces because people aren't really going to rent, for example, £10–20 dress because they would just go by themselves. But items on these sites have to be of a certain value. So if you buy a more premium piece, not only are you going to have a great quality piece that you love, you hope, but you're also able to rent that piece out on these sites. When you sell an item, you get a one-off payment of cash. If you rent, it's actually a continuous source of income. And I've actually rented that piece from my wardrobe. So that's something for you to consider as well, another way to make money, to buy other pieces. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, guys. Let me know if there's anything on your wish list. And if you have any tips that you can share for shopping luxury for less, then please leave it in the comments. I would love to know. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and go watch my recent review of the Coach Empire handbag, which is a bag I recently added to my wardrobe.